Good evening and welcome to the second edition of the IPR Careers Summit. Last year, we conducted the same event with Nalsa University, Hyderabad, and we had a great success. And this also fits in with our vision for IP and innovation ecosystem in India, that jobs and career is going to drive the field, drive the area, and hence drive the education system in that direction. So I'm very happy to introduce you to our first speaker and also the host of this event, Dr. Anindya Sarkar. And he is the chair professor, IPR, and director of NC Banerjee Center for IPR Studies at Nalsa University, Hyderabad. He's involved in consulting, strategizing, and conducting training programs in IP management. Previously, he served as assistant vice president and head of IP at Infosys, managing IP activities for Infosys and its subsidiaries. Even before that, he led the IP department at Biocon Group, a premier biotechnology company from Bangalore. He's a registered patent agent, a certified patent valuation analyst. Professor Sarkar holds two PhDs, one in science and one in law. He has successfully set up and streamlined IP operations across multiple industries, combining innovation with profit-focused approach. So I will not make the introduction very lengthy. So all I want to tell the audience here is that please make use of sir's time. Okay, he is here with us at least for 1 hour, and in the next few days. So make sure you are active in the chat. You listen to what he has to say, and ask relevant questions. When the Q&A starts. So, sir, please welcome to the stream. Please, as per your convenience, we'll start the session.
Good evening, everybody. It's wonderful and amazing to be back almost after a year at this career summit. We did this similar program. Nalsa University did this program uh, last year in collaboration with TurnIP. We have made it a longer session this time with putting one more day to it. And I'm really happy that we have close to 2,000 registered participants. Well, that's in fact not only happy, I'm amazed, and initially I was a bit surprised too. So I hope more and more of you will be joining in, and we look forward for a very meaningful session on what could be the careers in IT. Now, I don't want to focus only for lawyers. I'll also focus on non-lawyers, the STEM students, and uh, it's let me tell you, I moved from science, pure science research to the amazing world of IP. And I'm telling you, it's really amazing. And there's a lot in store. There are a lot of types of career options. We'll look at most of them briefly now. Okay, let me put up the presentation. Ah, so the slides are visible, I guess. Now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to spend a very brief time, maybe 2 to 3 minutes, on explaining what is IP. I'm sure most of you know it, but for the benefit of putting everybody in the same page, let's spend some time to understand that. Okay. So IP is a group of legal rights. Okay. It's a bundle of rights which is for protection over your inventions and your creations. Now there are various type of IP rights. Now this has been defined or followed based on TRIPS agreement. We have copyright, trademark, patents. We'll be talking more on them because they are the most popular and the most used ones. The other forms of IP include geographical indications, industrial designs, integrated circuits and semiconductors, trade secret, plant varieties. Now, the last one, which I see in the slide, is contract. It's not really an IP right. But most of the IP rights are controlled by contract. I feel it is equally and sometimes more important than others. Okay, so what do we have now? What is copyright? Copyright is something which is for the expression It could be literature, it could be music, it could be a cinema, drama, anything which is created. Mind you, it is not for the idea, it is only for the expression. Trademarks are basically logos and signs which expresses certain products and services. When you look at the Mercedes logo, you expect a certain kind of mm, quality of car. Okay. Similarly, patents are for technology. That means these are for inventions, which is more of a science-oriented outcome where science has been exploited to solve some problems. So it could be a product, it could be a process, it could be a service. Having said about the three main ones, let me also add a sentence about the others. Geographical indication is something which you assign to a geography. These are community rights, not given to an individual. Like we say, Bengal's Rasgulla or, Banarasi Sari or, Assam tea, Darjeeling tea. Now, these are associated with that area because if you grow basmati rice in your backyard, you will get rice, but you won't get basmati. So you can't call it basmati. Basmati has certain features, so which is akin to the geography of that area. Industrial designs are designs which is for the appeal to the eye. Okay? There is no technology, no functionality involved in industrial design. Integrated circuits are basically the semiconductors and chips which are being used in all the gadgets which have entered our life in a large way. Trade secrets are important commercial, scientific, technical information which an organization would like to keep it away from their competitors, away from the public, because it gives them business advantage. Contracts are anyway, they are binding documents which help you to agree upon how things are done. Now, we want to look at the complete IP cycle. Now, on the left, this is where you see the generators, this is the users. From the generator to users, there are so many unit functions which can be done. I'm not reading all of them. You can have a look. And each of them can be a professional. Now, if you want to use it yourself, you can use it yourself. You don't have to give it to some other users. You don't have to always license your IP or assign your IP. And then that's a material success which can go on. What's important to note here is that if we ignore it, then it is lost. Lost forever, once for all. Now, when we talk about an IP strategy, now we have a basic idea what we know, what we mean by IP. IP strategy is not something which goes on silos. An IP strategy is a weak strategy or not a strategy if it is not with business strategy and R&D strategy. So the R&D is where you will get the IP coming out, the churn out of IP. And if you don't have a proper business strategy, you cannot commercialize it well. Then the entire system is then what is the purpose of the IP, generating the IP? The purpose of generating the IP is not beautifying your CV or resume. The benefit of the IP is that if it's not commercially exploited, whatever form, if you have written a book, you have a copyright over it. If it's not commercially used, then there is no purpose. And in the IP management hierarchy, we should always remember that how this is maintained. This actually the diagram, and then I took it from a book. There's an excellent book, which the name of the book is Edison in the Boardroom, which has defined various levels of IP. From it starts with defensive. Defensive means that we are not going to infringe anybody else's IP. That's the first step. Second is the cost connect back. So now, see, IP in many organizations is looked upon as a cost center, not an investment. So it becomes a cost center. Do you need to convert that cost center to a profit center where IP is genuinely contributing to the commercialization, your revenue of your organization, your firm, etc. And to do that, you need it to be integrated with all the functioning of your company. And finally, you reach a visionary place where you are a benchmark. Now, these are very, a company without an IP plan is not having a plan. Now, how does IP management work? It's a game. I say it's a game. IP management is a game of value and risk. It's a very simple word. You maximize the value and minimize the risk. Okay? Maximize the value, and so that your, it does affect the stock market as well, and you do the proper branding. Minimize the risk is that you have almost no violation, and which gives you a sustainability of functioning. Now, how can you increase the value? The value chain? The value chain can be included by having proper policies, okay? Having proper team with adequate training, having control mechanisms to preserve both physical and digital. Mm. And that's how you go to value chain. How do you manage the risk? You do a risk management, you do a corrective action and preventive action. Yeah, you appreciate people who point out problems and which can be rectified or addressed. You track your progress, take corrective action. These are extremely important. Now, having done that, that's one the kind of mentality. Now, let's come to who is IP as a choice of a career. Why should you have an IP as a career? Just because I'm telling you, or I have worked in IP and I'm reasonably successful? No. Why is IP important? IP is important because it gives you, because 80% of the business transaction throughout the world is centered around intangible IP. And this is a chance to protect, um, this is a chance to protect the invention, this is a chance to um, commercialize it, increase the value. Okay. And at the same time, you should always also look at one important thing, that you are not infringing on somebody else's IP. Okay. And so that brings into our area of enforcement, protection, and stuff like that. So, what is the requirement? If you are a lawyer, you need a bachelor's degree and a law degree. You need to have a license to practice. Over and above, if you want to specialize, you can become patent agent or trademark agent. These are for your area of practice, for your country where you want to. So for that, what is the requirement? The requirements are very simple. An Indian citizen who is about 21 years of age and but has a science and engineering degree, then only you can become a patent agent, remember. Otherwise, it is not that important. And what are the requirements for non-lawyers? Any technical degree in STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, and you need not have a law degree. You can get several professional certifications. You can do internships. Many people ask me this question that do I need to have a PhD in science to be in IP? So that's the point. That's the reason I put this point in the slide. Uh, some firms like this, some IP firms like this, but it is not a requirement. Okay, it's not very important in my view. Okay, but of course, having a PhD will give you some edge over the people, over the other non-lawyers who are in this field and who does not have that degree. So how you go about training and development is the most important part. It's on the job. It's like any other field of law. Hmm. Work normal hours, you shadow a senior, learn from trainees, colleagues, There are a lot of informal lectures, workshops like one which we're having today, master course, patent agent, postgraduate diplomas. You can always enhance your skills in that. And let me tell you, it requires a lot of reading. Since having a formal education is not at all enough because it's a very demanding field. You need to be up to date. You need to be convincing, and you need to keep up with the rapidly changes in the law and technology. Basically, because of the digital age today, we are facing several challenges everywhere. Okay, balancing legal and technical expertise. There are ethical issues. There are privacy issues, and the digital world is making it more and more difficult. So, what could be helpful? Advanced scientific and technological understanding. I'm not saying knowledge, understanding. Strong communication skill, legal terminology skills, reasoning skills, okay, vertical skills, analysis, critical thinking, etc., etc. Where can you work? You can work in these segments, which are employ a lot of IP individuals, people of IP professions, the ICT industry, the computer science, biotech, educational institute, pharma industry, healthcare, entertainment, films and television, publishing, music, fashion and arts, the government IP offices, the patent office, the trademark office, or you can also set up your own independent practice. Now, what are your career options? Don't think litigation is the only option. Of course, it's one of the major options for lawyers. If you want to litigate in IP, you can have set up your private practice with clients, both domestic and overseas. Uh, you can start as you can be as, you can join as an associate and or a salaried partner and move to an equity partner in a firm. The question is always, should I join a small firm or a large firm? It's not about small firm or large firm. It's about the firm where you can learn more. Then you can be as an in-house counsel, okay, that is working in the industry, where you get a chance to work with the inventors, you get to work with the management, play a very strategic role, and often that leads to licensing and agreement, contractual or thought-related work. Okay. The other places where you can work are the prosecution, and you can be an IP manager. You can be a licensing specialist. You can be a brand consultant. You can be a copyright specialist. You can be an IP examiner in the IP office. There are a lot of paralegal functions. Then you have, you can be in academics and research. You can do technical consulting. You can do innovation strategies. There are various ways. When I say about IP litigation, what are the main focus areas? Main focus areas, of course, infringement. Infringement of patent, trademark, trade dress, trade secret, copyright. It could be infringement of anything. It could be about validity of IP, questioning a valid patent, questioning the existence of a trademark. There could be other disputes. Then there are issues related to publicity, database protection, screen domain names, data privacy, security breaches, etc., etc. And you want to do IP prosecution, okay, the verticals which are available, in fact, each of these verticals is a profession by itself. Search and analytics of IP, drafting and drawing, office formalities, registration processes, response to report, hearings, opposition proceedings, appeals, maintenance, payment of fees and maintenance. So these are by themselves, you can say, a profession by itself. Now here comes a little few fancy areas of work, like IP strategy and execution. Now these are not these are job functions which are from industry in-house. It is not that the in-house people always executes them or does them. They do take help of several law firms. So one is IP discovery, which is getting an inventory of your IP, looking at the gaps where you could be stuck or where you could be sued, okay, and based on that, developing a strategy to move forward. This is a regular function in most industry. Okay, and let me tell you, it's mainly non-lawyers who do it. IP strategy and operating plan. Yes, you may need to build a comprehensive IP strategy. It's not a one-day stand. It's a long-term plan. So you need to get into the depth and come out with those. Portfolio evaluation and optimization. Yes, you maintain a good portfolio, and does size matter? It doesn't. It's not that you always need to have a big portfolio, a big bag of patents or the other forms of IP. Not necessarily. Okay. And you should have critical IP, which is of value and importance. The other very, very critical area is IP risk management and freedom to operate. This is one of the most important in-house operations we do because nobody wants to get sued. And consequently, we should take measures that your process of manufacture, your product, your logo, everything is clean and free. So you should identify your threats well in advance to minimize surprises. Okay, a very very critical and important job function in most of the places. When you talk about strategy and execution, yes, there are one needs you cannot lose your IP, so you need to capture your IP, uh, catalog them, list them together. There are IP advisories, which is like you know, which are segment and territory wise. Like there are advisors and reports. For example, say the automobile industry, mm, or the maybe say specific the anti-diabetic community or the aircraft industry. So that is advisory role. The other crucial aspect, which is the competitive intelligence and IP portfolio benchmarking. You need to know if you are in a certain field, a certain domain, what your competitors are doing well in advance. And that can be known very easily by the IP filings they are doing. And those filings, are they going to be a hurdle or hindrance for you, for your business tomorrow? Today is the world of startups and entrepreneurs. So there are specific IP services which the startups look into. Okay. They look on the certainty, the continuity, and the successful exit as near zero risks. You need to do an IP audit, IP strategy operation, innovation capture, and have a proper, well designed prosecution. Now, let me tell you about the roles in IP transaction. First is IP audit. IP audit is very much like any other audit, where you take into account of the ownership of the IP, whether it is created, acquired, okay, and you manage the risks. And if there are risks, what could be the remedies? Okay, what could be the best practice? Once you have an IP audit done, uh, then the next step is to value the IP. Oh, I have a lot of IP, it's very valuable, doesn't mean anything. You need to put a figure, a dollar figure to that IP. When I say valuation, it's an amount of money somebody is willing to pay to acquire it. So there are various ways of valuing IP. There are 6, 7 models, and which is also by and large a profession. Which the consulting companies like the BCG, or the KPMGs, or the PwCs do it on a regular basis. It can be done, and it is also done in house by several organizations. Once you have the audit and valuation done, then you need to do a proper due diligence and to find out Where you stand? Do you need to acquire some more to improve? How much of investment is required? IP and tech disposals and acquisition. Do you need to dispose of some of your IP? Is it a burden? Or do you need to acquire some more because otherwise your sustainability is going to be in question? Then licensing, it could be in licensing, out licensing, whichever way as the case may be, we look into that. So see, by and large, each of them is a profession by itself. I spend maybe 2 minutes on this. Each of them is it's we can have a course on each of them. Now, once you have licenses, you need somebody to manage them. The license management and the cost, the fee part of it is also important. Okay? And looking at the research, is the R&D doing work which is generating an IP or it is doing the same old thing? It's a Me Too kind of research. Scientists always are not very, very clear about it. They need to be guided, they need to be updated on the IP in that domain, which we call IP landscaping. Hmm, that's another job function. And of course, like any other thing which is bought and sold, you have a scope of brokerage. So IP brokers, IP trolls currently are making a lot of money. Currently are making a lot of money, and people are happy because you get ready-made knowledge of which could be your IP, uh, which is available. Now, IT is a career. Why choose an IP as a career? Because the growing importance of the knowledge economy, the diverse career paths, which is a mix of legal, technical, and business, uh, interception of law with research, with business, and puts a potential of several global opportunities. What are the career paths? It could be a legal career, it could be a technical career, it could be a business career, or it could be a creative career. It could be a creative career where you are making, hmm, some of the, let's say, the fashion industry or the entertainment industry, okay, where the conflicts of IP infringements are increasing day by day. The work environment, okay, you can work in the corporate sector, you can work in law firms, you can work in the government, or you can work in academics and research. So IP is, I would say, is an exciting area for practice for attorneys, for those who are interested and keen, and at the same time, IP is the hidden career for science, engineering, and management graduates, where they can also move forward with their aspirations in this. So before end up, maybe one or two slides more. What are the current trends? Current trends, IP is going through a lot of uh, comfortable and uncomfortable situations because of the increase in digital innovation. AI, machine learning is influencing a lot of inventions, a lot of practices in life. As a result, the IP generated is also in a it is also progressing. We have digital rights management. This is sometimes a issue. IP, metaverse, green technology. Uh, there is a huge demand of IP expertise for startups. Startups do not give due respect and importance to IP in the beginning until they reach a somewhat mature stage. Mm, Globalization of IP, and there are a lot of international treaties and collaboration. And, because of sustainability and green technologies, there is a focus on that. Lastly, what are some of the challenges? Those are the opportunities. Challenges, sometimes public policy, public access is looked upon, you know, getting affected by, innovations. There should be a balance. Uh, Copyright in the digital age is becoming a more and more problem. Enforcement challenges in the developing economies. There are a lot of ethical issues coming up in IP, like are patent trolls good? There are some of those issues, but we these are not that big a hindrance to look. But these are areas which should be looked upon seriously as a important thing for IP. I think with that, I will like to stop and take as much as question as possible.
Wonderful, sir. Thank you very much. I want to tell the audience that now is a really good time to ask questions. Make the most of these 30 minutes that we have left. So, sir, basically, he is one of the most senior person in India when it comes to IPR. And by the content, you might have seen that the whole umbrella of IP has been covered in this lecture. So, because sir has himself seen the entire umbrella of services. So personally, I worked in IP benchmarking, sir. So this benchmarking part, shortly that you covered. So this is where with the role of patent analytics and an analyst was there to research competitors patents, to research competitor IP and so on. So please, that I will urge the chat to ask questions, and sir is here to answer them. So, sir, we have one question. I'll bring them on the screen one by one, and let's
Well, let me take
let's
the
see.
presentation down.
Yeah, I can take it. Yeah, yeah. So, Vidhant Bansal, is it possible to pursue most of the career opportunities IP with general LLB without attending the patent agent exam, since they are graduate in arts? So, sir, this was a question I asked to me also. I guess it's a relevant question.
It is a very, very genuine question. One should have a typical clarity on this because if you are not a patent agent, first thing, what you cannot do, okay, you cannot practice in the patent office. What do you mean by practice? You cannot sign the documents, you cannot sign the forms, okay, or you cannot appear for an opposition. That is what you will be barred. Yeah. Anything else you can do. You can litigate in the code, you can do all the business functions of IP. Only thing you won't be able to practice in the patent office. Okay. Does that clarify your answer? Yeah.
Mhm.
Let's
All
move on
right.
to the next.
So, Anant Gemini, how can someone transition to IPR from another legal or technical background?
Anant, it is not, you should be transiting because this is another profession and people are talking about it. You should transit only when if you feel that you want to transit, you have a liking for that profession. Now, if you are from another field, which may be a legal field, maybe you are practicing corporate law, or you are practicing tax law or constitution law, or a technical field, maybe you're a mechanical engineer or an electrical engineer. Okay, it is getting exposed, understanding, learning. Okay, and I always suggest a model. It is a learn while you earn. Okay, get into a firm which will give you a sustenance of earning in an area which you are interested and keep learning. See, I cannot tell a person who's of a certain age that you leave everything you already studied to go and that's passion. Some people do that. But I recommend, it is learn while you earn model. And many people have been successful in that. And I hope, next time we are here, Anand, you will be part of our IP family.
Great, great. So Manisha is asking, what are the work opportunities for lawyers with specialization in IPR? So I believe Sir might have covered some aspects in the presentation, but I'll let
I mean,
Sir, summarize.
Manisha, it's the entire world. If you want to practice an IP, it is the entire gamut. You can get into prosecution, you can get into drafting, you can get into valuation, you can get into licensing, you can get into litigation, entire gamut, depending on which niche area you want to specialize. Or you might be working in multiple areas also. There are many lawyers, many law firms, which are not stuck to only one vertical. Okay. While they are prosecuting, they are also litigating.
Hmm.
So the opportunities are large. Opportunities do exist. Question is how much you can make yourself suitable for that opportunity. Okay.
Hmm.
I, okay. Next is Rohit
Rohit
Salve.
Salve, is there any way to work in accordance with WIPO? So anything, sir, if you can think
What do
of.
you mean by accordance to IPO? See, the entire IP system in the globe works accordance to IPO. That is the central body, and we all follow their rules, regulation, and treaties, which every country is. That's more of a bureaucratic decision. Which country has accredited or signed which treaty? But then we all work on it. I guess your question is how to find a job in WIPO. Okay. It's not difficult. WIPO takes international citizens. They are not restricted for people who are in the European Union or in Switzerland. They do advertise. If you meet the requirement, there are several Indians. There are around more than 20% of employees in WIPO is actually of Indian origin. You can always have a response. One thing which will come in handy or which will help you is knowing another European language. Okay. If you know another
Great.
language, that will give you an edge.
Great insight. Yeah. So Monisha Devi, she asks, like for 5-year law students, what are the opportunities abroad or in organizations?
See, opportunities are always there. As I say, you have to make yourself suitable to fit into that opportunity. Abroad means, see, or in, see, the question is, the bifurcation is very simple. Whether you want to work in a law firm, whether you want to work in-house, or whether you want to work in academics, or whether the fourth is you want to open your own shop. These are the four main entry points. Now, you can do that in India. You can do that in any other country as well. Okay. Should there be a suitability uh, of you with the opportunity available? There's no
Mhm.
difference. Okay. Now, having said that, I say if you want to go to US and or any other country XYZ and want to practice IP, and you won't be able to litigate there unless you pass the bar exam there.
Mhm.
The same story is here. An American lawyer cannot come and litigate here. Okay. So those are few things which one goes, they pick it up or they choose to do work in other diverse areas.
Mhm.
Okay, let's move
Great,
on.
great, great. So Oluwato Misin, he asks, he's from a developing country. He wants access to global opportunities in IP, especially because the most prominent IP career path in my own country is an IP lawyer. So probably other than lawyer, he's looking for, and probably in
No,
developed countries.
there are other options as well. See, IP is don't look it as a legal remedy. It is not. IT should be visualized as a business tool. It's a business tool which includes and uses several things, including law and litigation. Okay, now once you start looking at this, then the global opportunity means you want to go abroad. Okay, it is. See, you should not compare it like once you've done engineering, getting into a engineering corporate, and then from the next month you're looking for on-site opportunities. Okay, that doesn't happen. Okay, because the law fraternity, the IT fraternity works in with associates in different places.
Hmm.
But if you are an in-house counsel, okay, like I'll tell you, I have worked for a reasonable time period in two very big, global companies. Hmm. And I used to cover the entire world, so I was traveling maybe all over the world as and when required. So I had team members who were posted in other places also as well. Mhm. Now that's because the company has business there, company has office there, and needs to and feels that they need to have one or two IP professionals there. Let's
All
move on.
right. Yeah. So Dr. Anamitra Roy, he's asking, he has a PhD in management. What role do you think I can play in the IPR field?
On Amitro, you can play several roles. I'm saying that without any further improvement of your education, you already a PhD in management. See, one option is that you can consider as becoming a patent agent or a trademark agent. Even if you don't become, see, IP is a business. Today there is a conflict in the IP community, in the research community for any project. The conflict is build versus buy. Okay. It's very simple. It's build versus buy. Do I want to build this or can I buy it or get it from somewhere else? Now, many a times buying saves time and gives you earlier entry to market. Okay. As a result, choices are more on licensing or assignment of IP. And I think you can play a very good role there. Not only that, with the management background, you can be a strategist, you can manage, you can get into due diligence, you can do IP audit, you can get into IP valuation. Okay. And if you have your technical understanding reasonably good, you can even think of getting into prosecution or drafting. Okay. I hope you are happy on Amitru. Let's move on.
Yeah, yeah. So, okay. Tejas, does LLM in IPR open up more career opportunities? Maybe we can shortly answer, Tejas.
The answer is Tejas, yes and no. If you are in practice, you want to be an in-house or you want to be in law firm, LLM is not a requirement. Okay. If you want to be in academics and research, definitely it's a requirement. Okay. Now, uh, sometime when the supply is more than the demand, where there is one position or two position and there are 20 applicants, the guy who's selecting that might lean towards an LLM, but LLM as such is not at all a requirement. You can do everything in IP with a LLB. Okay,
Mhm.
let's move on.
Yeah. So Purnima, Can one file patent in social science research?
Now, I'm a little confused what is social science, okay? Because we do not have a parameter. Now, see, this you're getting into the nitty-gritties now. For a patent to be granted by any patent office in the world, see, first of all, patents are territorial. Okay, so every country gives, every jurisdiction has their own. There are three primary requirements which are required. One is it should be novel. That means the first time report, nobody has done it. Okay. It should be inventive. That means it is not obvious. And third, it should have some utility. Okay. Some utility or industrial applicability, which is not a throwaway utility. Okay. So, I mean, you cannot say the wall is a source of bricks. That's a utility if you break the wall, but it's a throwaway utility. So if your social research output is a yes, 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 and all these 3 points, you can definitely have a patent. Finally, your research, which is coming, so first of all, research output which is coming out, that will be, you will be recording it, so copyright is always there. If it is leading to a product or a process and it satisfies these three conditions, I see no reason that you should not get a patent. Okay?
Mhm. All right, all right. So Vedant and Anant, they are both saying thank you. So great, great. We are happy. Harshita has a question. What is the career growth path for a patent agent in the field of organic chemistry?
Very high. If you just ask me in 2 words, very high. See, if you look at the patents of the world, okay, majority of the patents, whether it's India or any other country, are involving chemistry and mainly organic chemistry. It used to be higher percentage wise. Now, biotechnology has taken a portion from this organic chemistry. So, if you look at the number of patents which are moving, and you do a study, you'll find a very high percentage, probably a maximum, is in organic chemistry. Because organic chemistry is very big. Okay, it can lead to pharma, it can lead to chemicals, it goes usually fine chemicals, and it can lead to several other things. Anything you take, paint industry, organic chemistry. So it has a very, very high potential. Scope, how it is going to work out for an individual, is your effort and the support you get around.
Mhm. All right, next question. HSY asks, does being a STEM graduate and a registered patent agent stand out from an LLB graduate? Can I get to work also as like an LLB graduate?
You might be doing, if you are in a law firm, you might be doing similar work. Some places you might be doing identical work. Uh, but there are differentiation. There are certain things uh, an just LLB graduate can do, which you won't be able to do if you are not an LLB. If you are a STEM graduate, that means you will never be able to litigate in the court. Okay. And if the LLB graduate does not have the first degree as science, he will never become a patent agent. So those are the differences which are there. But there are, if you go to big law firms or big IP boutique firms, you'll find that most of them, there are both grounds, both type of employees, and they do very similar work, if not identical.
Mhm, mhm.
Mhm.
Uh, I'll pull up one question which even I would actually ask because so many computer science students they are doing IPR courses, and so what are the career opportunities for computer science students? Is it
I
something separate?
No, no, it's not. It's not separate. See, I assume this is. you're asking in relation to IP. Okay. Career opportunity in IP for computer science students.
Hmm.
See, the law, the statutes, the acts, the rules are not technology specific. The same rule, same law applies to pharma, to biotech, to ICT, to manufacturing, everything. Now, there are specialized or specific niche areas in each domain. Okay. Pharma has a drug cycle because drug cycles are drug approval and drug patents, which is a very high stake industry. So it has their own excitement and challenges. ICT or computer science, it has a different type of excitement and challenges. The challenges and excitements in ICT includes SEP, standard essential patents, standards, okay. And because the shelf life of many of these are very low, the technology gets outdated very fast. And there is a huge practice area in standards. Okay. See, you cannot tomorrow come out with a router with its own frequency. It has to match all the available frequencies. So there is a standard body, and that is highly manipulated through patents. Plus, so much of inventions happening everywhere. Hmm. There is a lot of scope for protection, and to add to it, most with the increasing, uh, um, ever increasing usage of open source, which people would love to go to GitHub and pick up a code from there, which has certain obligations, which has quite a few uh, type of licenses, which needs to be handled, monitored, and managed. Okay. This hopefully can be done better by a person who comes from that educational background. It all depends what you want to do. Okay.
Hmm.
And okay,
Uh,
let's move on.
yeah. So employment through advices, IP honors from IIT Kharagpur. Everyone is saying one should not go for a niche field while pursuing LLB. Is it true or is it just opinion?
It is, I would see, I have been closely associated with Rajiv Gandhi School of Intellectual Property in IIT Kharagpur. Uh, it is again a niche area, definitely. And it depends what you want to do tomorrow. Okay. See, if you want to have chapati, then you have to go and get flour. If you want to have rice, then you have to go get the grains, what you want. It's not like that. The IIT Kharagpur Rajiv Gandhi School has a little bit of stringent requirement for LLB. That LLB is a 3 year course which is not open to any graduates. It is open to only science graduates. Okay, so that's little different compared to others, and because they are the entire school is more technology driven, and that was a conscious decision which was taken when it was set up. So there's nothing like this, ये करना है वो नहीं करना है. It's all आपको क्या चाहिए, what you want is, and you gear up to get there what all you need to do. Okay, let's move on.
Yeah, let's try to get this question. Suneed Mantri, leveraging my pharmacy degree, LLB, and postgraduate diploma as the shift from my current corporate role with a salary exceeding 20 lakhs presents challenges due to potential for a lower salary. Please guide me. So apparently they are saying current corporate role pays higher and a shift towards possibly IP because we are that's the point of discussion is going to be lower. Uh,
Not necessarily. If you have great skills or good background, proven skills, there's nothing like great skills, you have proven skills, which can be quantifiable and identifiable, you can definitely, the shifts are. Remember, if see, our country is also in the form of transition. If you look at developed countries and look for an IP lawyer, say you go to US and look for an IP lawyer, his first degree and sometimes second degree is in science and technology or something in STEM. Many of them have PhDs, and then they do their JD and move into law. And this is not a trend there; it's a requirement there. And because it is expected in certain areas, they will perform better than the others. Okay. Now that shift and the financial bargain is again a very personal decision. Okay. Many a times, we change jobs because of money, but we don't shift careers because of money. We shift careers because of your desire, your wish, your passion. Okay.
Mhm.
I had shifted
Uh,
from research to this, to IP. Okay. It did not really give me a big monetary leverage at the beginning. Later on, it did pay up and in leaps and bounds. But that decision was not because there's more money in this program. The decision because I was exposed to this and I started liking it, and there was a passion, and I wanted to do it. Okay.
mhm. So, sir, Manisha Joshi has one more question. Please clarify the connection between contract as an IP.
Oh, ho, ho, ho. You know the answer, Manisha. That's why you're asking me. Contract
Yeah, we
is
can
not
move
an
on. If
Contract is not a form of IP. What I said is that when you're dealing with IP, you should give equal importance to contract
Mhm,
because that's how the business of IP happens.
mhm,
If your contract is weak, even if you're strong IP, you will not, uh, you might not get that kind of expected returns.
mhm. All right. We move on from that. So, Dr. Satyanarayan Singh, how to utilize IPR in case of trade secrets? May- Maybe some similar aspects.
So the thing is, trade secret is a well-defined stream of IP. Okay. Uh, to explain or to answer your question in a very short span, uh, is since most countries, including India, there is no law of trade secret. There is no law which governs trade secret. We do not have it. We have Patent Act, Copyright Act. We do not have a Trade Secret Act. Okay. So what is trade secret? Trade secret is any information. It could be a research information. It could be a business information. It could be the list of your customers. It could be the list of your vendors, which will give an outsider, whether your competitor or anybody from the public, a springboard effect. You can use it and go. Now, so you want to keep it a secret. How do you keep it a secret? By having policies and systems within your organization. And this is mainly controlled through contracts. We get into non-disclosure agreements, confidentiality agreement. If Dr. Singh, you ever worked in corporates, you would find that the day you join your organization, you will sign this many pages of paper where many of these aspects are taken care of.
Mhm.
Okay. If you
So,
don't
sir,
have a
let's have.
system to keep it, you can't keep it a secret. And then
So,
and
sir,
you cannot
maybe
blame anybody. Yeah, okay, fine. Am I out of time, Rahul?
maybe, sir, one last question, and then let's let's use till the end because there's so many questions, folks. We cannot take all of them, but if you write to TurnIP, we will forward them and perhaps respond to you. What is the scope for IP lawyer who wants to work in the entertainment industry? specifically copyrights related to music.
Today, in this situation, specifically in the Indian entertainment industry, there is one conflict every second day. Whether it is about the remix of a song, whether the lyric has been written by somebody who has a right over the story, and it has also moved on far behind where people have uh, started making memes, and there's a personality right. Okay, there's a character right. Can I use Mickey Mouse everywhere? Because Mickey Mouse is maybe fictional, but a character. Hmm. So it is growing by leaps and bounds because the money in that industry has increased a lot. Today, you spend more than 100 crores making a movie. So that means many things are at stake. The interest for litigation has also increased. Okay. It was earlier just a few conflicts between some song lyricists and songwriters and all. Now it has moved. I think it has huge potential. Should we call it a day
Great.
now?
Wonderful, wonderful, sir. Thank you very much for a great Q&A. We couldn't take all of the questions, and but that's so encouraging even for us that so many people are in the live stream, and the chat is so active, asking questions, and all were relevant questions. Even I can see scrolling down, there are still relevant questions, and we're really great to see that we've built some kind of a community here, and people really are attending. Like it said, niche subject, it's a niche subject, and still people are here. So
Now,
great.
if you have more questions, you can always write to us. To the best of our ability, we'll try to answer them.
Yeah,
And it's not
yeah, yeah,
this is just the first session. We have five more sessions. You'll
yeah,
find a lot of experts,
yeah.
better speakers who will satisfy your curiosity. All the best.
Yeah, thanks a lot, sir. Thanks a lot. Really appreciate it. And so, folks, you can see the description of the YouTube video. There's a whole lineup of speakers that, and also the timings of their talks. So now we have another eminent speaker. We have Mr. Nitin Sharma. He's from Qualcomm, and I'll briefly introduce him. He's already backstage with us, and I will bring him on stage. So Nitin, he has 27 years experience in software and wireless communication. He leads IP initiatives at Qualcomm India, and he works in patent strategy, 5G and AI portfolio management, IP education, and in general he works with several universities to foster innovation. He works with R&D teams to identify and protect IP. He's a registered patent agent. He has a bachelor's in computer science. He has an LLB, LLM, and a postgraduate diploma in patent law from Nalsar University. His global experience spans e-commerce, wireless, embedded systems, and he has led large teams, consulted for firms like Tektronix, Sagem from France, and has been with Qualcomm in India for 19 years. So he is a recognized world's leading IP strategist by IM Strategy 300, and Nitin actively advocates for IPR awareness, and particularly among academic institutions and startups, and he mentors startups in IPR strategy. So with this, we warmly welcome you, Nitin, to the stream. And yeah, so Nitin's topic is technology transfer. So he will talk about the career as a tech transfer professional. And again, this will be an interactive session. So I will ask Nitin questions, and also the audience questions can come in at any time, because we can also take some relevant questions. But yeah, Nitin, first I will let say a few words.
Welcome, Nitin. Good to have you
Thank
here.
you, Rahul. And thank you, India, sir. I think it's pleasure to see you again and be
Let's hope that
alongside
we have
you.
a very, very exciting session. It's all yours.
No, I think I did listen to you in the last few minutes, but great. So it's difficult to follow your footsteps, but I'll try my best to make it meaningful in the next hour or so.
So yeah, Nitin, shall I ask some questions from my end straight away, and shall we begin this
Yeah,
talk?
Yeah, I think that would be better rather than having a slide. So yeah, I think we can you know go about whatever people would like to listen. So please go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, all right, all right. So folks, this session is on tech transfer. Technology transfer is a very big talk of the town, you can say, in India. Academic institutes are having pressure from accreditation bodies that how many patents are commercialized, how much licensing revenue has been generated. So these are explicit questions that academic institutes are having to answer to accreditation bodies. So I think it's a very pertinent topic, and we have someone with us who is working in this field. So Nitin, first, of course, let's talk about what tech transfer is. Like, give some definition so that the audience and we are everyone's on the same page. But then we can also associate with the top skills that are needed. Let's say for the people here, what certifications they can do, what skills they can develop.
Sounds good. No, I think you rightly said. I think a few years ago, when national IPR policy was announced, and the colleges were basically given the task of generating IPR, and it was also one of the parameters for ranking them in the NIF ranking. People definitely started considering IP as a started thinking about IP, and started filing specifically patents and other IP assets. Right, that was a great start. Uh, Moving forward a few years, I think the government has added another criteria now, which is about commercialization of IP. And now one of the criteria is, to what extent the IP generated has been commercialized. And I think that's a great next target that we should achieve, right? So what is the role of tech transfer office or tech transfer cell, or if even if we make it a little broader, IP department in a company and all that, right? So let's take a step back first and then try to understand what these guys do, and typically, why is it important, right? So so IP tech transfer cell, IP department, or any name that you want to give it, is basically a function of an organization that deals with IP strategy, right? Now, any organization, especially like in if you ask any startup or any organization, what are your top priorities? You would see that there is a financial aspect, there is a human resource aspect, there's a technology development aspect, and so on and so forth, right? And every organization will have a strategy to achieve their goals in that aspect, right? If it's R&D organization, it has a charter of doing certain R&D in certain space, assigned to it. um, if it's a startup, of course, it has a plan to develop a product and take it to the market, and so on and so forth, right? So in order to achieve those goals, typically they will try to figure out where's the fund coming from, how will they get the best talent, what is their plan to achieve this. Now, for all these, there are certain plans which we call as a strategy for that. Our goal is to understand, should there be an IP strategy first, right? And if yes, then what is it, and then how do we go about it, right? And that's where the tech transfer offices comes in the picture. So IP strategy is typically, see, IP is a tool, and any tool, just like any tool, a tool is how the value of tool comes from how well you use it, right? It doesn't matter how great tool you have, but unless you are able to use it properly, you will not be able to get the value. At the other hand, even if you have a mediocre tool, but if you use it in a multiple way, you can get a lot of value. So like that, IP is a great tool, right? If you look back at the countries which have done well in the tech space in last 100 years, you will realize that the focus on IP is one of the key factors. US had IP in their constitution, right? IP related provisions in their constitution itself. UK had IP related provisions way back from 15th, 16th century, right? James Watt is a classic example of how IP system has helped evolve, help him develop technologies and protect it, and then finally what happened in the whole world in terms of industrial revolution, we know that, right? You look at Germany, you look at Taiwan, a small country in the world, but driving a lot of innovation. Korea, Japan, right? If you look at all these countries who have made their mark in the technology space, you will see that strong IP system is at their core. China started late when they realized that without IP they cannot grow beyond just a plain manufacturer, and they created a master plan and did it. So that is what we are talking about, IP strategy at the country level, right? But today, as you know, we all know, it's a century of innovation, technological development, and all that. So it's no, we can safely say that it's an era of IP. It's a century of intellectual property, and any country, any company who wants to make a mark, especially in the technological advancement space and all that, IP is a critical component there, right? So any company which is doing R&D, which is in the cutting edge of the technology space, needs to push the technology boundaries, innovate, and therefore the IP strategy becomes a very, very important part of it. It's a strategy, it's a function that you need, it's an explicit function that you need, which should be aligned with all the other functions like finance, in technology development, R&D, sales and marketing and all that. And it becomes a great tool to achieve the company's organizational goals, right? So one, you definitely need, if you are a company which is not just the services company, right, but if you're a company which is pushing technologies, which is pushing the product limit, coming out with innovative products, etc., you definitely need an IP strategy to make sure that you succeed in the market, right? So IP strategy helps you maximize the strategic and financial value of any organization, right? And that organization could be colleges, right? I mean, the goal of colleges right now is to be innovative, be R&D hub and all that. All the big colleges in the country are now striving to increase their R&D and all that. So IP strategy becomes a very, very important part, right? So what is IP strategy? It's basically a strategy to build a strategy or a plan for building IP assets, protecting those IP assets, and generating maximum value out of those IP assets. And that's an IP strategy, and it is not standalone. It has to be very well integrated with the rest of the functions of the organization, right? And therefore, coming to your question, right, what kind of skills might be needed, right? Now, here, if you see, you are talking about managing or strategically managing multiple IP assets, right? You're talking about patents, copyrights, trade secrets, everything else, right? You're talking about integration of IP with your R&D, with your finance, your sales, and your everything else that your company is doing, right? And you are trying to create value or focus on creating value in multiple dimensions. So you need that multi-dimensional skill, right? And that's where I think it's a very interesting function. You need to be aware of legal aspects like patent law, contracts, etc. You need to understand the technology, because without understanding of technology, how would you be able to discuss and sell the technology, because technology is the product here. You need to have a strategic thinking, because IP is all about estimating the future value and therefore creating a plan to commercialize that, right? So you need to have a strategic vision about where market is going, or how to build a strategy around making this generating this value. You need to have a financial understanding of it, in terms of how do you value an IP system, how you value your IP asset, how do you build your contract such that both the parties in the contract generate financial value out of it. It's not just that I win or you win, right? Has to be a win-win situation. So how do you align these financial terms that suits both the parties in a given circumstances? You need to have a skill of business development, which means you need to be able to sell the technology. Imagine, it's a product. IP is a product, it's an industrial property, and you are asking somebody to pay for it, which means you need to sell this product to it, right? You see so many advertisements talking about, hey, if you buy this product you get this value, right? So you need to have that sales, marketing, all that skills in it. And finally, which also maybe you can say part of financial skills, but you need to understand how do you deal with venture capitalists. Because let's say if you're a startup, or if you are a college entity which is trying to commercialize it, you might need to interact with venture capitalists and understand how that world works. You also need to understand risk assessment, right? What is a risk, right? We are talking about a technology which has just been created. There are risks associated with the commercialization, so you need to have an understanding of risk management. How do you take care of it? So, long answer in short, but long answer, but in short, I would say that it's a very interesting function. It's a very multi-dimensional function, and therefore the skills required in this space is also multi-dimensional. Of course,
Hmm.
one person may not have it, but at times the organizations are not big enough, so you might have 1% TTO or 1% TDC. You might have 2% TDC, but whatever size it is, these are the skills at a very high level that's needed for it. uh,
Hmm. Yeah, lots of different functions. Even when we were taught IP, we were like, okay, it's business, it's legal, it's tech, they're all combined. So I wanted to this just add this certifications part. For example, what happens with students is that, yeah, in India we have a lot of certifications, we have a lot of names, LLMs and patent agent exam. So when students are not knowing very well what exactly they should pursue, for tech transfer, do you think any of these certifications particularly matter? Because at least this RTTP, I have heard that that's one of the only probably technology transfer certifications. Other than that, related to say our education system has LLM, LLB, postgraduate diploma, patent agent. What all things might matter and what may not be important?
yeah, I think fair question, and I think, as I said, one um, this is multidimensional, right? So, and it's very difficult to have one person having all of it, right? So I think, first of all, understanding this whole space and understanding where you are in that whole space, where are you starting from? I think that's a key point for us to know, that how you can become, what's your path to become a successful tech transfer professional, right? Now, you may be coming in from an engineering background. Wonderful. I think that's a great skill to have. And then you might have to see, out of legal, financial, sales, marketing, all that, what is your inclination? Where do you think what is that you enjoy doing it, right? And I think the next step could be that. Next step could be that if you are coming from engineering background, and let's say if law is what attracts you, maybe a good stepping stone is getting a patent agent exam done, right? So that you get that certification, you understand the patent law aspect, which helps you understanding the IP creation aspect of it, right? What it takes to get this through, how do you figure out value and all of that, right? Then you can combine it with either LLB or law, which can then gives you the awareness around contract law aspects, your taxation aspects, your all these aspects, right? Or things may not be taxation, but contract laws and the other aspects of the law, right? How does the infringement works? How does it um, because law is not static, right? Even the patent law is how court interprets and all that. So you can become expert in that. You could take a diversion. Instead of law side, you are a tech guy, you have interest in finance, you could look becoming a certified valuation analyst, right? So you basically, there are some organizations which does certified financial analysis course, which can then help you understand that, okay, I have this technical solution, how do you go about putting a value to it, right? And there you become, you crunch some numbers, you look at some sales projections, you look at the cost aspect of it, you look at the comparative approach to figure out a value, and so on and so forth, right? So you can be very innovative in that space and become a financial, you can take the tech plus finance path of it, right? You are interested in business administration, wonderful, take an MBA, or do some of these, but always keep your IP tech in mind. So you then look at, okay, how can I market this technology, right? So the tech marketing, the product marketing becomes a great thing, right? Because you need to
Hmm.
you need to show the value, right? Imagine you have to sell this technology to a company or to somebody who can use it. You need to be able to understand how do you sell it, right? What are your sales skills? How do you negotiate all this? So you can then become, you can take that MBAs and then you can do this, right? um, Branding, marketing, you wherever you are, whatever your interest is, you can do that with keeping this space in mind, and go from there, right? You rightly mentioned RTTP as a certification. Yes, I think it gives you, there are organizations which gives you those certifications which are internationally acceptable. But imagine, but I would say, not fall for too much of these certifications. They are good to have, they are great, stamping of your expertise, but uh, I would say the real world experience is the most important one. And every this is a space wherein you need to be creative, innovative, and dynamic at all the time. So if you understand, enjoy these kind of things, then go for these educational learnings, and then adapt your practical experience around these things, and it'll be helpful.
Hmm.
RTTP is one certification. Certified Financial Analysis is another one. There are courses on patent valuation. You could look at that. But I would say, in order to become a successful professional, you need
Hmm.
to enjoy this space. You need to enjoy technology. You need to enjoy every other, any one of the other aspects, and then you can build into that, right? I always feel that I am being a technologist. I enjoy law, so I got into this. Maybe I'm not that much expert in finance. Maybe I'm not that much expert in sales, but there are always people who can do those things for me, right? But
Hmm.
at least I need to understand this whole space. I need to understand what I know and what I don't know, and then I can complement with it, right?
Hmm.
And if I think I enjoy a particular space, I can go deep into it. I can build my practical experience around it. So if you want to build a career in tech transfer profession, I think it's going to grow in India, and it's a great thing, and it can help you diversify into many other areas if you don't enjoy this later. But there are all different paths which you can do based on your interest. I think the interest and your motivation is the key, right?
Hmm. Hmm. Like in any job, basically, you have
Like in
to.
any job, yeah. I mean, a lot of people just do it, come take computer science because, hey, it's an easy job, and you can get, there are not many jobs, and all fine. But if you don't enjoy it over a period of time, it becomes a drag, right?
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
likewise, you can be very innovative and in the space if you like it. So I would say, just in one line, you have various sub parts if you decide to be in this, and depending on your interest, you could go for formal degrees, and then you could go for certifications provided by WIPO, provided by ATTP, provided by other renowned organizations around certain valuation aspects, etc., etc.
Hmm. Yeah. Uh, so yeah, I mean, like Nitin said, that the most important thing is to have experience, the real world experience, more than the certification. And I think that since it's primarily academic audience, many of the institutes require technology transfer. Okay, so you can just raise your hand and just volunteer and help to do a commercialization for one technology within your institute, or one patent, even your own invention, for example. So I think that gives you a lot of expertise. And even if you can say that you've helped transfer one technology or one patent or one invention, that's a very big thing, because as professionals we know how rare it is. Even the biggest universities in the world, they struggle. So that is my next question related to this. So for academic institutions, what would be your advice? Like, what can be low hanging fruit for them, so that they get started at least in this tech transfer area and then build from there?
So I think great question. I think academic institutes. I think the first and foremost thing is to understand the concepts around IP strategy, right? And I think basically that's a starting point. Once you have an understanding of how a good IP strategy can be built, then you can start bringing in the pieces, right? Now, in the tech transfer aspect, what is the core thing, right? The core thing is the technology, the innovation, right? Everything else is built around it. So I can have a great goal that, hey, I want to commercialize IP, have a good score in my commercialization and all that, but it all starts from innovation, right? I can get great professionals, I can get everything in place, processes and tools and all that, but I think the core thing is innovation. So first and foremost, the innovation mindset has to be there. That yes, the institutes will do real R&D, right? Because it's easy to get patents. For getting a patent, you need to meet three or four legal criteria, and then you can just get a patent. So you can get like hundreds of patents, from patent office, by doing some small things. But the challenge is commercialization. What will sell in the market is not that you have to identify, and that may not be easy enough, right? It's just like you have hundreds of startups, but not everybody succeeds, because it's easy to create something, but it's very difficult to sell something, because it needs a hard effect, it needs a lot of other things, right? The core thing is here that you're trying to sell is a technology, right? So your R&D, your focus on R&D, your has to be very important. It has to come out with the good innovation, right? If you have good innovation, then your IP strategy can help maximize that value. But if your innovation itself is not that great, you can go only thus far, right? So foremost, focus on R&D, focus on innovation has to be there. Then you have to build a good IP strategy, and that's where the understanding of IP strategy, etc. How do you create assets? How do you identify value of each of these IP assets? How do you market that value? How do you take it to the market? So all of that IP strategy aspects come in, and that's where you need to start creating a tech transfer office. Take a step. You need to have somebody who can tie all these pieces together that you have in your institute. um, you know Identification of IP, you start from there, build IP assets, and also at the same time you need to have connect with the industry, with the market where this technology is going to be used. uh, it's not standalone, as we said in the beginning, right? You can't create without knowing what is the use for this, why I'm creating this. So all these aspects have to be done parallelly, right? Okay, I'm doing this R&D, but why I'm doing this R&D? What is my goal, right? And if my goal is to have good commercializations IP, then I don't understand what is the need, who needs what, and then I solve those problems, right? So if you are in a location where there are industries, figure out what your local industries need. Can you help them solve their problems,
Mhm.
right? That could be the practical applied research, right? Wherein I look at the low hanging problems around me, and I work on those, and then create some IP on this, and then start collaborating with them. That could be a start, right? Fundamental research, yes, I would do that. It's a great thing, but then understand how the fundamental research can be commercialized. It's a long drawn process. Sometimes you create a great technology, but the delta between R&D ready, or technology that has come out from R&D, and the readiness of that technology for market, there is a big delta. Who does that? Who bridges that delta, right? How do you build those partnerships that bridge that? So I think it's a step by step approach. I think first of all, an organization has to understand why I am creating IP, what is that, and why I'm doing R&D. Look at the market, and then start backwards from there. Okay, if this is what is needed, how do I build something which will then sell this, right? It's just like creating a startup.
Hmm.
IP is an industrial product, it's an industrial property. Let's understand that. If you are in the business of generating IP and commercialization of IP, it means you are creating a startup. Just understand that.
Yeah.
Everything else is all
Yeah.
same. It's the product that you're trying to sell. So if you want to create a startup, it means you need to understand your market, product fitment, your other finance aspect, your all these aspects, and then just deal it with that way. So to answer your question, R&D, I mean, the technology is at the core. You need to build a technology which sells in the market. For that, you understand who is the customer.
Hmm.
Build from backwards, and then say, okay, if
Build
that's what
backwards.
is needed, how will I build it? Sometimes you
Yeah.
you create something and then find market opportunities. That's also fine, but you need to have that strategic thinking in terms of, okay, I will build this. I don't know what market is needed, but I know this is an important problem to solve, and I'll find out the application of this. Wonderful, that's possible,
Hmm.
right? We created LLMs and all that. Now world is figuring out, oh, this is a wonderful thing. How do I apply this? Yeah, application of LLMs are emerging now, right? 5G was created thinking, hey, all we give you is the basic tenets of high speed, low latency, and all this. And Ola Ubers were created, and use cases are being created. So it works both ways. It's not that I always have to know the end of the market, because if sometimes it's a circular thing. So
Hmm. Yeah. By the way, I'll tell the audience one or two things. So obviously, Qualcomm has a platform where you can have a certification on IPR commercialization. So the platform is called L2 Pro India. So you can go to l2proindia.com and you can register for a, so it's one of the very, you can say, there are not many courses on IP commercialization. If you just look online, or you won't get that many courses, and this platform is free of charge. So I'll just quickly write it on the chat. So l2proindia.com. So anything you want to add, Nitin, on L2 Pro?
Yeah, no, thank you for bringing that up. I think L2 Pro is a course that was designed based on our learnings from engaging with startups, right? So we have Qualcomm Design India Challenge India program, wherein we help startups in building their, taking their product to the next level, and IP strategy is a part of it. So when we interacted with startups, we realized that there are some startups who know about IP and build an IP strategy, but there are other startups who need help in that. And so that prompted us this idea, and then we partnered with Government of India, Department of DPIIT, Department of Promotion of Industrial, DPIIT and Technology, right? CPAM and NLU Delhi, and we created this platform wherein it's an app based as well as it's a website based. Three modules: basic, intermediate, and advanced. It touches upon all the aspects of an IP strategy. It also talks about standard essential patterns and standardization and all these aspects. So it's a good start. Once you complete the course, you get a certification, which is a certification given by NLU Delhi, CPAM, and Qualcomm. So, and it has a QR code. So, it's actually a certified, good certification course to give you a good idea on it. So, yeah, look, no, highly recommend that you take this course and get some broader idea of this.
Yeah. Please, folks, l2proindia.com, you can check it out. Also, I'll take this opportunity to tell the chat that now is a great time. You can ask questions, and selectively I'll pick them up and bring it so that Nitin can answer. So my own question, like from my own, say, personal interest, is like we are an ecosystem builder, TurnIP, and similarly are so many incubation centers across India who are you kind of operating a bit separately from the academic institutes. They are part of the academic institute, but they probably don't talk to each other that much. So, what can we do, for example, in terms of boosting tech transfer? Any kind of tangible things we can do? Like, of course, we are doing this kind of events, but can we take it, let's say, one step further?
So I think one of the biggest thing, if you talk about ecosystem, right, the biggest challenge I see is the lack of awareness of IP and IP strategy, right? We when we started a few years ago, basically when people were viewing IP as a negative thing, right, and were thinking that, hey, it's something that stops innovation and all that, right? From there we have come quite far. IP is well respected now, or at least the respect has increased. The startups are now thinking about IP, using it for their financial valuation, increasing their financial valuation, etc., and all that, right? So I still feel, even though there's been progress, but I think there is a lot needs to be done in the context of tech transfer and all that. I think we definitely need to focus on talent development, right? We have to invest in training programs to develop skilled professionals in the tech transfer. As we said, there is a lot of things that needs to be done. There are individual courses, like you rightly mentioned, LLM and patent agent exam, etc., all that, but they give you one perspective. But there is a dearth of courses that gives you a full perspective, right? So I think we definitely need to invest on talent development. We are definitely, as Qualcomm, we have an L2 Pro India, but we are considering ways of how we can add further on this, right? So I think that's one thing. The other thing about ecosystem, I would say, is that we need to promote collaboration, right? So we need to, I would say, facilitate the networking and partnerships between academia, industry, government, and all that. And I think but you're doing it through these kind of webinars and bringing the community together or building the community is good, because bringing the experts together, bringing people who are doing this together, they can share that experience, learn from each other, and newcomers who are trying to come into this can learn from what's happening, and build from there. So I think that's the second thing I would say. We need to promote collaboration. We need to create these spaces
Hmm.
wherein ideas can flow, and because remember, there's no one way of doing it, right? I mean, it's basically, you have great examples from US, from Europe, where the tech transfers is a well established practice, and procedures. India can learn a lot from those ecosystems.
Hmm.
At the same time, we are uniquely situated in our own way, so we need to adapt that, and then we can do that. So these collaborations will help. The other thing is we might need some hand holding, right? I mean, we might hand holding could be in the sense of giving them strategic guidance, consultancy. It could be in terms of giving some sort of financial support, right, to encourage innovation, commercialization aspect, and all that. Because we are starting new, we bound to make mistakes, we want to learn from it. So the ecosystem should provide financial support either through government or through whatever, we can. There are various ways to do that. So that could be the other thing that we might have to do for the as part of the ecosystem development, right? um, Adding on to it, maybe supporting infrastructure, right? So the incubators that are there, like T hubs in Hyderabad or various other incubators, right, they could also focus on this, and they could play the role for providing financial or mentorship, or a collaborative space, as we discussed, right? Or for this, and talent development and all that. So I would say the incubators, accelerators, innovation hubs, the center of excellences that different colleges are building, they could play some of this role, so they can be great catalyst for this. Policies, we should advocate for good policies. I think we really need advocates of a good strong IP system, right? We should not view that IP is creating boundaries. I would say IP is actually a great catalyst. IP system is a great catalyst for innovation, right, as we have seen.
Hmm.
I'll give you one example just to do this. I mean, we all know James Watt, right, who was the one of
Steam
probably the
engine.
steam engine innovator, right? And it changed the world. If you read his story, he was an engineer. He loved experimenting, and he was trying to solve this problem of how to automate power, right? He spent all his money. He became bankrupt, right? He couldn't, he didn't have money to even cure his wife's disease and all that, and he was bankrupt and bad shape. He borrowed money. He exhausted that money for R&D and all of that. Went back to his civil engineering work. But then one investor saw the work that they have done and put more money into this research. And eventually, he was able to solve this problem, which finally became steam engine. He protected it through patents and built a strong portfolio around it. And then finally, there was a lot of patent litigations. A lot of people tried to copy it and all that. But then he was able to do this, monetize it, and he retired. He died as one of the wealthiest person in UK. Now imagine the system creating world leading or world changing technology. You look at US, a lot of world changing technologies are coming in from there. Why? Because there is an incentive. That finance person would not have come and supported this R&D if there was no returns there, right? That's one example. The other thing is, it's a great tool for collaboration. If I have not protected it, even if I've done R&D, somebody will come and pick up that knowledge and use it, right? My skill, see, in ecosystem there are multiple players. I may be a great technology creator, but I may not have a great skill or in-house expertise to market it, to create a product, to commercialize it. I may need to partner with industry who has a global scale. If I have not protected my IP, I cannot partner with them. I cannot collaborate with them, because tomorrow he'll take it up and then go. Why would he need to give me anything, right? So it's a great collaboration tool. Standardization is a great example. There are multiple companies coming together to build great technology. You look at any other industry wherein there's lack of standardization, the space of technology development has been very slow. The
Mhm.
landlines never provided the service to the customers.
Yeah, yeah. We'll wait a bit. I hope that the stream is going fine. We'll wait a bit. So I'll answer some questions that were asked in the chat. So one was about the recording. So the recording will be available in the same YouTube link for all the 3 days. We are having three different YouTube links. So that is, so all the links are being shared in your email. So make sure that you have the recordings. Somebody asked for the certificate. Please, this is day one, so you will only get certificate after day three. You will have to fill the post-event feedback form, and with that you can take the certificate. Some questions have been asked, like copyright. If Professor Arinda, if you are here, maybe we can take some questions while Nitin is, so obviously, one question was asked about copyright. So I want to ask, say that. Ram Niranjan, these kind of questions, you can get your answers on your own. This forum try to ask questions which picks the knowledge, the practical knowledge of the speakers. Okay, so like sir has so much experience, Nitin has so much experience. So so yeah, I think copyright. Yeah, sir, you're muted, please, if you want.
So, this is 70 years plus the life of the author, of the creator, is the general. There are various categories. There are government work, the cinematic work, the posthumous work, where there are some variation. But by and large, you can say the 70 plus life of the author plus 70.
Yeah, let's do a Q&A. Let's take some audience questions. I think Anushka, she was asking, she's working in a KPO consulting firm. She wants to switch to the litigation department of R&D companies. What skill will be essential to align as per litigation? So, so probably some details are missing. It would be great to have more details. But yeah, any Nitin or sir, being both, you can take a crack at this if.
I mean, the answer is very simple. Unless you have an LLB, you cannot litigate. You need a law degree and a license to practice. That means I'm talking about registration. Then only you can litigate in this country. Now, the law is very, very, very uniform. They don't care which case you are fighting. It could be a divorce case or an IP case. The requirements are same.
Mhm. Okay, Dr. Annamitra Roy, how can IP be beneficial in education? Uh, and I am okay. He teaches at postgraduate level. Basically, the question is, what role can it play in higher education? Uh,
So, so see, the way I would look at it is that IP is an industrial property. It needs money to create it, right? Now, if you are talking about an educational institute, which is, let's say, an engineering college or a university, if your goal, or if the goal of the university is to be the leading engineering institute, for example, right, or a leading research institute, how will it get there? It will get there by having research oriented programs. You will be able to create meaningful research if you have understanding of market, business, what industry needs, etc., and all that, right? Now, if you want to build those partnerships, IP can be very useful. And I see there are some great colleges in and around in India. Triple IT Hyderabad is one of them, which has a lot of many industrial partnerships. They do a lot of collaborative research, right? You can create these partnerships, better partnerships with the IP system, right? You can attract better students, right? I mean, if your if your institute is doing an R&D which is directly related to industry, for example, it will generate students which are market ready, right? Today with the chat, the generative AI world, the basic level of engineering jobs are going away. Gone are those days when the btechs in computer science who will get employed in doing basic coding. You don't need that anymore. You need students who can apply, who can solve the problems, who have research capabilities. So you need students who can explore, who can evangelize and do that. That will happen if you can inculcate the research mindset in it. It's not just that you cram a few subjects, clear the exam, and then you're ready. No, your jobs are gone. Those jobs are gone now, right? So IP can be great tool, as I said, for an institute like engineering college to increase the value proposition of the college. See, look at all the good colleges across the world, right? You look at the Stanfords of the world, you look at NTU in Singapore, you look at everything. The key thing is how useful education, how useful R&D they are doing, right? And you look at Indian institutes and then say, what is lacking there? We create world's best engineers who are very talented engineers, but their talent gets honed only after they go to these universities, right? The best of the IITians, typically go to Stanfords of the world and all, and then they, maximize their potential because of that delta that's there. I mean, things are changing here, but what I'm trying to say here is universities, engineering colleges, especially who deals with technology, needs to build that mindset of research, build that creation, innovation, and then you will see that the country will progress. Unless you have that, there's no innovation. You need to learn how to innovate, and where there's an innovation, you need to know how do you maximize that thing, because innovation is needs a lot of effort, money, partnerships, all that. That's how it helps. And if you, let's say you are a student, you have an IP on your name, you have patents on your name, it's a great resume.
Mhm.
So
Yeah. I
if
mean,
you are a professor who has filed few patents in a research area, you are considered as a expert in that space in the country. The industry will be very happy to partner with you and then say, okay, we have this problem, can you help us solve this? You will get funds in your college. I'm
hmm.
not just making up. You see the partnerships that the great colleges are doing, whether it's IITs or triple ITs and bits of the world. They are creating these partnerships because the professor has created something meaningful, established his thing, and you know. So I hope this answers your question. But if not,
Yeah,
then please
yeah.
give the details.
Yeah, there's a reason why the government is pushing so much, that education institutes adopt IP. But let's take this question. It came a bit before. How can I start my career in tech transfer as a life science graduate? Is there a roadmap? Maybe I think this is what the audience is looking for, some
Yeah,
kind of Mac or any
actually,
specific.
yes. Actually, yes. In fact, in the life sciences space, I would say it's a bit more organized now. If you don't know, I mean, the Department of Biotech has runs a lot of programs, and they sponsor the professionals there to go and take up this RTTP certification and all that. So I know at least there are 35 RTTPs in India now who are certified in the space. So yes, there is a path. And as I said, like if you are a great technologist, then pick up one of the paths. Like what do you want to, you can start with finance aspect of, you can start with legal aspect of it, you can start with marketing aspect of it. If you are a life science graduate, you join an institute which is doing research in your area of it, and there are many institutes in India who are doing good job, and there is a tech transfer happening here. So you need to join companies which are R&D focused, using your tech skills, and then build from there. Like if I look at my career, I joined as an engineer. I was a computer science engineer. I moved into wireless communication space and did a lot of stuff on the engineering side. And then when I got attracted to this IP field, I was very exciting,
Mhm.
fascinating field, right? I think one of the best decisions I made was to get into this intellectual property field with mine. It gives me the latest technology state. It gives me the legal aspect of it. Great analytical opportunities. You debate on things a lot. So I think it's a great path. You will have to create your own based on what you like and then what direction you want to take. But start from the
Yeah.
organization to R&D in this space.
Yeah. Many people actually enter IP just like that, like happenstance. Uh, because, like I said, IP is, but when you explore IP, it's really, really interesting. By definition, you are talking about invention and
Yeah.
creativity and economic growth, business, and so on.
Yep.
So yeah, let's take some more questions, some general questions we have. Tejas, what are the practical skills a fresher can develop on a personal level to enter IPR law firms?
Well, I mean, as Anindya sir also said, I think law firms predominantly hire LLB guys, but there are, especially IP firms, they also hire subject matter specialists. So you have the leading firms hiring engineers, hiring life science experts or biotech experts and things like that, because as IP means like you patenting like means that you need to deal with technology. So if you're talking about practical skills, I mean, you have a path to enter a law firm, IPR law firm, through engineering path or through legal path. And for both of these, you pick up your area. What if you are starting as an engineer or as a science graduate, you do that, and then also pick up a few courses around IP, maybe patent agent exam. I mean, it's a great combination, and IP firms will be very happy to take you. The key thing is you need to be expert in the technology you are talking about, right, or subject matter expert, and you need to be very proficient in legal aspect of it. So you start from one of these, and then you can enter in these. There are great examples of people who did engineering, joined a law firm, and then over a period of time they did patent agent and they did LLB while working at the law firm, right? There are people who joined as a lawyers and then they became professionals. The only point I want to make here is, in order to become a patent agent or a good IP professional, you need a basic science degree. And so if you want to play a full spectrum of role, right, then you need a science degree and a law degree, right? If you just want to be a litigator in IP field, you can do that by doing LLB in non science fields as well, right? And there are some great litigators who have not done science as a graduation, who have done either commerce or the other aspect, and they're great litigators as well. So choose your path. I mean, everybody is
Mhm.
different, so where you are, from there you can enter.
Hmm. All right. Let's take maybe the last one or two questions. So at 32, it is tough to start over, and I'm looking to utilize my previous knowledge to get a position which is better incentivized and gives me an edge. What kind of uh, sector or what kind of jobs can I go for? So just before Nitin, you take this, I want to say also that we have four more sessions. So tomorrow, Dr. Prachi Pandey, she'll talk about the patent agent exam. It's happening January this year, but it happens every annually. So you must attend that session to understand what it takes to get in there, and what are the opportunities and how to prepare. And I'll also talk about patent analytics and patent consulting, how to develop landscapes and reports tomorrow. And then on Friday, we again have two sessions on career and pathways and skills that you need from very eminent personalities. So please see the description for the next four sessions. I'm sure they will add extra value to what has already been discussed. So yeah, Nitin, please, I mean, any
Yeah.
general
So
thoughts?
so I'll answer your question in multiple parts. First, you said at 32 it is tough to start. I did my LLB, in my early 30s. I did my masters when I was in my late 30s, and patent agent around the same time. And I think I'm open to do more certifications or whatever as it grows. The thing is, in today's world, you need to reinvent yourself every single time, right? uh, it's not your choice. You have to, because very simple, AI is coming, right, or it's already there, and it'll very easily replace a lot of people, right, with the regular skills. Whether you're a lawyer, whether you're an engineer, whether you're a doctor, you need to reinvent, right? I started as a computer science engineer. I moved into wireless communication. I did like 5G and more, the polar coding and all that, which is like none of my field. But you need to reinvent, first thing, right? Now, it's a great point that you want to reutilize your current skills and all that. And I had the same question when I did engineering for about 15 years or so, and when I did law, I had the same question. I can't start all over fresh as a law intern, right? How do I capitalize on my engineering skills and technology into this? So there are multiple things, right? I could have gone into data protection laws. I could have gone into IT cybersecurity because of my background. I chose to be in IP because Qualcomm is, as you all know, or you might know, it's the number one company in terms of IP licensing and R&D and all that. So it was a natural choice for me, and luckily I got an opportunity internally. But there are avenues, and in these today, combinational skills are actually very very important, right? Um, so don't think about age. It's a number. I mean, as long as you like the subject, you will get the drive and things to do. And there is only one Ajay, right? I think that was the name in the world, right? So you'll create
Arjun.
your own path. Arjun, sorry. So there's only one Arjun Singh in the world, and he will create his own path uh, based on his liking and all that. So there's no two people.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
work on your
Great,
strengths, and
great.
you will definitely get there where you want. You need to have a patience and hard work, and things will fall in place.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, yeah, maybe last question: can the course be taken by a lawyer? I think Nitin has already answered it with the last question. It's more like why not rather than.
Yeah, I
So,
mean, if you are a
folks,
lawyer who wants to know more about IP and overall spectrum of IP strategy and all, please take the course. I think it's a great course, and will give you a very basic understanding or high level overview of this
hmm,
space, and you can go deeper into whatever areas you
yeah,
like.
and there you have like basic, advanced, and intermediate, all three levels. So yeah. So a lot of people saying thank you. So great to have you folks. Thank you very much for joining us today. At least I can see 100 people are concurrently live even right now at the end of 2 hours. So really really wonderful to host you. Many people will watch the link when we send them the YouTube link. So yeah, Nitin, any last thoughts if you have? Maybe we wrap the session in the next couple of minutes.
Yeah, no, I think thanks everyone for great questions, and I think it's a great field. I think if you are a technologist in whatever field of science you are, if you love some of the legal aspects, finance aspects, then I think tech transfer is a great profession. There's a lot of growing demand in this space. At the same time, there's definitely lack of expertise in this space. So I would strongly encourage that the fresh students who are coming out of college should explore this. It's creative field. It deals with innovation, so it's very nice. At least I enjoyed this, so I would encourage you to explore this, and I'm sure you will like it. And as I said, I think there are multiple paths to be successful in this space, and that's the beauty of it. You can have a combinations of skill, and it'll be greatly useful. The challenge is it's not like a ready-made path that you see in engineering or a lawyer in a law firm and all that. It's a very creative space, and that's the beauty of it, and that's the risk. You can create a path by choosing areas of your interest and offering that combination of skills in a unique way. And I'm sure there's no dearth of people who want that kind of a skill and insight. um, I think that's
Yeah,
probably it, and have
Professor Anindya. Yeah,
questions.
yeah,
The only thing I would like to say is that we have had a lot of wonderful questions, and see, the show is not over. We have 2 more days of this program, which with Malsar and TurnIP is doing. Some of your questions might be answered in a better way in the next 2 days. I'm happy that that you go back with more questions.
hmm,
When you're looking for an area in your profession, it's a lifetime decision, okay, your career. And you have asked a lot of questions, good question, right question. And after our program, after the event, if you go back with more questions in your mind, I think that's also a success of this event because those
exactly.
questions will actually guide you to what would be your path, what would give you the maximum satisfaction, and which way you would like to go. Okay?
Wonderful
Thanks a lot.
thoughts. Thanks a lot, sir. Thank you very much. Very, very important. If you have still some questions, it's actually we take it as a success. Even in our courses, we look at it this way. If you still want to learn more, you were not happy with the course because it was too short, we take it as a compliment that you still want to learn more. So great, folks. Thank you very much. Thank you very much to the speakers. Thank you to the audience. And we'll conclude the session now and have a great rest of the evening. And see you tomorrow from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Have a great day. Bye.